with me I have Grandmaster Arjun Erigaisi and International Masters Rakesh Kulkarni. Welcome to both of you.
Hi.
Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. How are you doing?
So Arjun, how are you feeling? It's been more than a week, I think, after the big victory. What is the feeling right now?
It's still great. I'm extremely happy that it went well and it's my best classical tournament so far. But I want to get back to work and prepare well for the next year, upcoming year.
Amazing. Were there any celebrations that took place at home?
Uh, Nothing specific. We just had good food with family.
So did you catch up on some movies after you got back?
Yes, I watched a few Tollywood films on Netflix and Prime.
And did you watch Pushpa?
I did.
You liked it?
To be honest, not a big fan.
Okay. So who's your favorite star?
I like Tarak and the I don't know if
Ah,
you have
yeah, I'm also waiting for their film Triple R. Let's see.
people.
Okay, Rakesh, over
So,
to
so
you.
Arjun, like after you came back, it's been a week. So, have you seen any chess so far in the last week?
I did not do any serious work, but I have seen some chess. Yes.
So you
And
are like following the Grand Prix or just a little
yeah,
bit here and there.
just little bit I have been.
Okay, and just of course, big congratulations for this fantastic achievement, and you have qualified into the Masters group now. So, how are the next 11 to 12 months? Like, what are your plans in the next 11 to 12 months?
Haven't planned anything specific, but I have a few tournaments coming up in June, May around that time.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. And my next question to you, Arjun, now that you are back, I read some of your interviews, and in one of your interviews, you mentioned that you have improved recently in a stage where you are now able to do better at finishing off the games when you have a good advantage. So, could you translate your process into words as to what were some of the things you did in order to get better at this area?
Well, until a point, I didn't even realize that I was lacking the skill of finishing off my opponent in a one position or better position. But only after I started working with System, he pointed this out to me, and we started looking at some of the games where top players finish well, and he gave me his insights, and that worked out pretty well.
Oh, that's interesting. So you got some insights from him, and then you had this awareness now that this is one area where you need to be extra careful.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And now the next question I will let Rakesh ask you.
Yeah, so Arjun, I was really curious about this fact that you recently entered the World Top 100. So, congratulations on that. You also leapfrogged your good friend Nihal Sarin in rating. So, did you have a word with Nihal? Like, or did he congratulate you? How's that been?
Yeah, he did congratulate me on the victory and the good games. And we have been in touch and we played some four player chess last night.
Oh,
Oh.
awesome. And of course, you both are really good friends. You have both have been also working with each other. So there's a great healthy competition amongst you guys who will reach 2700 first. Is that true?
Mm, I don't really know about it, but yeah, it's been good and we are enjoying.
Yeah, you both are doing fantastically well. And just before we jump into another segment, you gained almost like 27 rating points, 26.5 to be exact. So, do you remember last time when you had such a big jump in classical chess?
I don't think I had such a big jump in K10,
Okay.
so it should be in K20. I gained 38 yellow in 2017.
Okay.
And
So,
then I guess this is the
Yeah,
Yes.
and this is almost equivalent to 54 yellow for just
Yeah,
for the chat,
it's even
because
higher.
you have a coefficient factor that multiplies into 10 or 20. So what a performance, Arjun! Like absolutely amazing. People are struggling to gain rating even at lower levels, even on chess.com. Like I mean, leave OTB and chess at the highest level. So that's amazing. And yeah, did you do anything special before Vike? Is something our chat would really like to know.
Uh, I started working on my openings, and
Hmm?
also in Poland, I realized that I was not able to finish off towards the end of a tournament. I was scrambling in important rounds like penultimate round or the final round. So I was trying to keep myself calm. Yeah.
So do you mean the World Rapid and Blitz in Poland?
Oh yes.
Oh, so you did take the results of Rapid and Blitz into account in order to plan your classical event as well.
Yes, as a general thing, I think it counts. So,
Uh-huh. Okay. I understood the let's say three players I know, but who's the fourth player who joined your four-player chess?
it was myself, Raunak, Nihal, and Sankar.
I was under the impression. Okay, it was Srinath, but okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
the kids don't include Srinath nowadays.
Sometimes he does join.
Okay.
And just before we go forward, Arjun, you won the Tata Steel Rapid in Kolkata, then you finished second, almost won the Tata Steel Blitz as well, and now you won the Tata Steel Challengers Group. Like, what do you have some love for this brand, this Tata Steel event?
Oh yeah, definitely, and I hope to win Masters.
Oh yes, I mean that would be amazing. Like I think Anand sir was the last Indian to win the Masters Group, and we have had AD or Prague with it. Hari Krishna also plays, so hopefully next year we have an Indian winner in the Masters Group as well.
Well, it's going to be extremely difficult. I just try to play freely and enjoy.
Yep.
Then,
Okay. So Arjun, now we will head to the chess segment. I have the board here, which is ready, and I want to ask you, which is that one move? Of course, you've played a lot of amazing moves, and that has translated into good results. But if you had to pick one moment which you are likely to remember for many years to come, is there any
uh,
such game from any moment from any game that you played in the Vikings event in the Tata Steel Masters? Sorry, Challengers.
so I was quite proud of my game against. Uh,
Yeah, I have all the games, so you can just let me know, and I will pull them up here.
yeah, my game against Dal.
Uh, Darda. So that was a Kalashnikov, right?
Oh yeah, that was a Kalash.
Okay, give me a moment.
Yeah, so while Niranjan is just figuring that out, Arjun Aditya has a question in chat that did Nihal persuade you to try a hand at GeoGuessr yet?
Uh, we did start it out together, but I didn't like
Huh?
it so much, and he went on to become good at it.
Okay. Yeah, he just likes to do that. And
Okay.
Gurkirat Singh Anand is asking Arjun, one E4 or one D4?
D4 for now.
Okay. Yes, Niranjan, I'm guessing you have the board. No?
Yeah, I have the board. So, Arjun, you can just go to the moment that you want to show, and maybe we can ask a question relevant to the position to our chat.
Yeah, so in Kalashnikov, basically white has a lot of space, and black struggles to come up with a good plan apart from a6 b5, which hardly happens because white has a good control over the b5 square.
Yeah.
And, and white can just keep making simple moves, whereas black doesn't have so many good moves. For example, here I can play something like king h2, rook d,
Mm-hmm.
bishop f1, but whereas he can move his queen, place his rooks on d8 and c8, but then what, he doesn't have a good plan. So reshuffled around a little bit. And around this point, I think h4 was a bad move by him. I was slightly afraid that he would play h4, knight g6, knight f4.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best way to meet with it is when he plays h4 to go knight d5, either this one or this one,
And then after bishop d5?
or take with the e pawn.
So you're saying, for example, white has to make some move here, right? So,
Yeah, let's say bishop e2,
and then knight g6,
h4,
knight g, h4.
and knight d5, something like this. I think I have to,
Uh-huh.
or take with the knight and then take with the pawn.
So,
So
then there's no use. So I'll just take with
yeah,
this
because
knight.
h4 can become loose. Let's say queen f5 and knight
Yeah,
f4, bishop f3, some queen g4 or something like this.
true. This is pleasant for white.
Yes, h4 was not a bad move practically, but objectively it's not the best since it loses the
G4 square.
control over the g4 square. So, and around this point I started playing well. I think I played bishop e2, bishop f3. So here I had this plan in mind to get my knight to g3 and there's something with his king.
Wow. Okay. And then you got your knight to g3, knight e2, b5, and knight g3.
Oh yes, so and around this point I felt practically it's very tough for him to defend, especially with less time on the clock. He had less than 10 minutes if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And yeah, I like this move, knight e5,
Yeah.
because he cannot take with the pawn because after e5, e6 is hanging and e6 is hanging.
Yeah, let's just show that double attack.
Right. And also I have all sorts of queen g5, knight h5, and rook swinging over to the king side.
So this position, when you got rook c3, were you already hinting at like looking at possibilities of knight e5, or did
Yes,
this?
I had that idea in my mind, but it wasn't working exactly. But when he put his rook on c8, c6, it just helped me.
Okay, so now the rook was also a target,
Yes.
and now it's working. Wow.
So,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. The question is like, would you still have played it if he had played rook c7 or something, or rook c5?
Probably I would have played something like rook d3 first.
Okay, adding more pressure on d6.
Yeah, I could deal with it slowly, and also knight d5, bishop d5, e d5, and going queen g5 next is another idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So this game had everything. I think it had strategy and it had tactics. It had attack.
Yes.
Rook c3, rook c6, and then after knight e5, knight e8, did you evaluate this position as slightly better, or did you feel that you were already close
No,
to?
I thought I was winning already, but apparently black is holding on here according to the machine. Although it's not at all human, the defensive resource.
Queen g5. So with queen g5, what is the immediate threat you had in mind?
And
Knight
that
x5?
knight x5,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So here computer comes up with this move, queen c7 or rook d7,
And the point
and
is?
after protecting the rook on d8, basically. So after that take on h5, black goes knight e8,
Uh-huh.
and somehow black is able to hold on.
Wow.
Oh, this this is hard to believe that black can hold, but yeah, machine.
And this is like move 32, so very close to like time trouble. Maybe not so much for Arjun, but Darda was definitely down to his
Yeah,
last.
he had less than 10 minutes. I think.
Yeah.
So, and here after f5, rook c8, this is winning in a few ways, but here I was really proud of my move here, and computer also approves this. I'm glad that I found this.
Okay. Maybe this is the moment we can pause and just ask the chat what they would like to play. It's not an easy move, but let's see. But it does have a value in terms of threat. So that's the only clue I can give to the viewers. Meanwhile, while the viewers are considering their best move in the position, I have a question for you based on what we received on Twitter. So I'm going to read that out. What is your style of play right now, according to you?
I think I'm universal at the moment. I'm capable of playing all kinds of positions.
Yeah, that's the
But
kind of answer I also felt like when me and Rakesh were discussing. So we did talk about you and what changes you have made, and I did feel that you have become more universal in style. So this was a conscious approach, yeah.
it was not conscious actually, it just happened by itself.
Wow,
And
that's
like
good.
Arjun, we were doing these recaps on all the rest days. So one of my fondest memory of this was, I think, around the first rest day, uh, you and Vidit were both leading, and we just asked our chat that who do you think will continue to lead till the next rest day? And then chat was like, Arjun is going to lead till the end, and maybe Vidit might falter, and that's exactly what happened. So it like you just had the lead from start to end. And I also wanted to quickly ask you that this was, I think, your the third round game and your second win. So how much did starting well help you in getting such a monstrous score of 10 and 10.5?
Definitely did play a role because first round could have been a disaster. I was on the verge of losing.
Yeah.
So if that went that way, then I think I would have been mentally slightly down. And I don't know how things would have gone in that case. So I
And
think good
second round was
strategy.
just a cakewalk, right?
Sorry.
Second round was just too easy against Max.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he mixed up something.
Yeah. Like I think I was just talking to Srinath just after the game, and I asked him, till when did you guys like have your prep? And Srinath said like it's difficult to prepare bishop into f2. So just before that move, you had your preparation, correct?
Yes, no, the reason why he took on a6 and went wrong is in this line he remembered that white sacrifices his queen somewhere for three
One
pieces.
moment. Can you just tell me the
Uh,
game so I
Yeah,
can pull that up?
my second
uh,
game against
round two.
Magnus.
Second round. Okay, so I'll just come back to this game since you're talking about it. I'll just add the pigeon of that one, and you
Yeah, and
mean
move
this one?
16, Ranjan. Like round two, move 16.
Yeah, we have that.
Yes, so here I missed. He assumed that he knew that somewhere white has to take on a6 and sacrifice his queen for three pieces,
Uh-huh.
and he spent a lot of time and assumed it was here, but here it just turns out to be a blunder, but it's somewhere else. So
Ah, okay.
yeah, it was unfortunate for him, but yeah, it went well for him.
Did he have a word with you and say what he
Oh
messed up?
yes, we did analyze after the game, but he still couldn't recall where exactly white sacrifices his queen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And just to tell chat that Max Fardaman is also very strong play. He was the second of Anish Giri at the FIDE candidates last year. So quite a promising young Dutch talent himself. But yes,
Also, he had a tremendous run in 2021, I think.
yep,
He was at some 2400, but he went to 2600.
correct. And with no GM norms. And he completed all his
With
norms.
no GMs, that's something.
Like I think FIDE or somebody was making a list of people who became a GM only in the pandemic, like all three norms, rating, like that. So there I saw his name. But yeah, coming back to this game against Daniel Darda in round three, guys.
Yes, so this is the position in which Arjun made a very strong move, which was not only
Yep.
the best move and but also approved by uh, Stockfish as the top choice. So here,
And congrats to Ishan and Chess Time who found the nice move, Bishop to E4, which
yes,
wins on the spot.
turning FG and then Queen G6. Also Knight H5 kind of tricks are there after FG6. So yeah, after Knight E4, the remaining part I think you just finish it off, right?
It
Without
was
any
no,
trouble.
no.
Cannot take fg6 because of the fork, cannot take king g6 because of the discovered check. Thus, you won the game. Amazing, Arjun, that you played such a nice game. Um, Now, to get your style, now that you're saying that your style is universal, let me switch over to the chat scene. I wanted to know if you have had any influence of some of the classical players, players from the past. Have you like studied some of the games or particular players that you've liked studying?
This is somewhere where I should really improve. I hardly studied any classics and other games. So
Okay.
Okay, so that means you have not really like. Have you checked the Great Predecessor series, or you are planning to do that?
I should do it at some point, but I haven't done it.
Okay,
And like maybe the world championship matches, Arjun?
Yes. The current World Championship matches I do for the 2018,
No.
2016.
I mean like
Uh,
Fisher versus Spassky
no,
and stuff.
no, I
Okay.
haven't.
And just by chance, do you know if your other peers do this, like Nihal, Ronak, Prag? Have
Some of
they
them know,
studied it?
I guess some of them have studied, some of them haven't.
Okay. Yeah, chat, but this just shows that if you really work hard on your strength, you don't need to study the classics. You can still be a very, very strong grandmaster.
yep. And I think now we are opening the floor for the questions from the chat, and also I will ask some questions that we received from Twitter. The next question is: who do you think is the greatest chess player for you, from your eyes?
Um, should be Magnus, I guess. I was really impressed with his game against Anish in round two.
Yeah, that exchange
But,
side game.
yeah, it just showed his understanding of the game.
And there's another question connected to Carlsen, so I will add it here. If you ever encounter Magnus Carlsen in a classical match, are you daring to push for a win in a slightly better position?
It depends on the position, I guess. If it's a risk-free position, then yeah, sure. And if it involves a lot of risk, then I would decide based on the position.
Okay,
Other
very
factors.
good. All right. So those were the two questions I had. There's one more question, but for that I will wait for Srinath to join, who will join in about 4 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Rakesh,
So
over to you.
meanwhile, I had a question, Arjun. You have had like a beautiful last 3-4 months. So what would you consider your best achievement? Like winning Tata Steel in Netherlands, like the challenges group, or the Rapid and Blitz achievement in Kolkata?
To be honest, I'm happier with my achievement in Champions Chess to Goldman Asian Level.
Okay, before
In
that,
yeah, before
maybe
it
that
was
started your
yeah, because that gave
credential.
me an invitation to all these events. So between these two, I think I would go with the challenges group because this was classical and in the past 3 months I didn't have a great classical tournament. So
Okay. And just relating to that, you've entered world top 100 as we discussed earlier, but you're also world number 14 in Blitz. So which one of those is more like you are looking to improve in which of those rankings now?
right now it's classical.
So even like world top 5 in Blitz is not as important as maybe the top
Um,
30 or 2700 in classical.
I do care about Blitz as well, but I think right now classical is the priority for now.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And my next question is about your schedule. So before we go to the schedule, did you like stay in touch with social media during the event?
Not really. I wasn't checking too.
Okay. And what about the food there at Tata Steel? cooking, or were you ordering? What was the system there?
In the start, I wanted to have only Indian food from Indian restaurant, but then, so we were having food with Surya, and he tries out a lot of stuff, and I loved the food that he was ordering.
So
So
did
it was,
Surya make you try sushi?
oh no, I'm not a fan of sushi, but
Yeah.
I loved ribs.
Oh, nice.
Anupam Chatterjee wants to know which engine do you use?
I use Stockfish cooking.
Okay, and I want to know whether you listen to music while preparing chess.
Sometimes yes, sometimes
So,
not all the
what
time.
kind of music?
Mostly Tollywood.
Mostly Tollywood. Okay.
Nice. So Rishi is asking your favorite opening, Arjun. Which would that be?
I don't have anything specific, but if I had to choose one, then maybe it would be French because I played it for a long time. It was my childhood.
French.
And also continuing the favorite trend, do you have like a favorite game of all time?
Mine or Indian?
You can say both. Like, let's go for all. Like anybody first. Like,
Anybody? I think Kramnik Topalov, Topalov Kasparov, or Kasparov Topalov is very good.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
And
that.
and one game of yours which every fan of yours should see.
Um, I played a game against Mutaya in 2017 or 2016.
Okay.
So I think that's pretty good. I attacked pretty well.
Okay.
All right.
And Srinath is here, so I'll quickly switch the scene and we'll be back in a moment.
Arjun has already answered the question about Pushpa, so you can just go back a little and watch it. Ishan is asking Arjun, do you watch anime in your pastime, or if not that, anything else?
I have been told by Ritvik and Sankar to try it out, but I have never really done it.
Okay. Deepan is also a big, very big anime fan chat. So if you see.
Okay, so we'll go to commercial now. 3, 2, and 1. Hello everyone, welcome back, and we are joined by Grandmaster Srinath Narayanan. Hello Srinath, how is life?
Hi, Niranjan. Life is awesome. How's life with you guys?
All good.
Excellent.
So we
So-
want to resume from that part of conversation about contribution made by Grandmaster Srinath.
Off the board.
Yes,
Off the board is a very, very broad topic, but maybe you should narrow it down to just the kitchen contributions.
Yeah, kitchen or food. Like let's say food contribution by Srinath.
So, what did Srinath cook for Grandmaster Arjun Erigaisi?
That's for me or for the chat?
It's, I think, best to ask to ask you because you are the one who actually had it, right?
Yes. So he just cooked some Maggie and
Just
that's
cook some
it.
Maggie.
Okay.
No Maggie for you from next time.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
When he's playing Magnus, you might need something more than Maggie next year.
yeah. And
But-
like, was it because there was no other option, or did you deliberately ask for Maggie, Arjun?
No, it was just for a change, and I carried Maggie's.
Okay.
So, Srinath, chat is welcoming you and also asking some uncomfortable questions like this is the marriage season. So when will
Guys, back at you. First you and Niranjan.
you are our guest? So
No plan.
Yeah, but it's not like only the guest has to answer questions, no? Host can also answer some questions.
Yeah.
that-
I have
Recently, I
no
watched a podcast where there was this popular guest who is actually used to being the host. And through the podcast, it was not quite clear who was the host.
is that one of Doctor's podcast that you're talking about?
No. It's a more chess podcast.
Okay. Like something related to Batman and Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I have an answer to that. So we have this young brigade of Indian kids. So once one of them
Becomes world champion.
2700 world champion is too far. So
For
then
me, that's my answer.
world champion. Okay, then maybe See, anyway, FIDE has announced today that there is no world championship this year.
2023, no?
Yeah, 2023 we will have something.
I'm quite patient, and so are
No,
other people.
dude, but for that an Indian has to qualify, to the candidates. So you are technically.
I have a lot of faith in Arjun. So let's see.
How he cannot be the candidates?
Two candidates 2023.
Exactly. So
It can be 25 also.
Exactly. So Srinath guys will be getting married in 2025. So
Or
all you
27
ladies out
or
there
29.
still have some chance.
Oh, never.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you.
All right, let's come to the chess part now. And the first question to Srinath. Srinath, you are obviously elder to Arjun. So when you are working, does that age reflect in the way you think about games? And what kind of difference can you share and translate into experience?
For starters, I'm much slower than Arjun in calculation. So that's the first effect of the age difference. And no, apart from that, on a more serious note, I think I just have a little more experience than Arjun in general from observation. So that helps me detect a few non-chess patterns, like the player style and how they're playing. And also in general, what is required and how the tournaments go and these kind of things.
And regarding your tournament, prior to the event, did you plan a schedule that you thought you would follow? And did you follow if you did?
We didn't quite have a fixed schedule, but it more or less falls into place. Generally, you have a look at the opponent's games and stuff the night before, and you try to have a decision the day before the game on what you want to do the next day. And then next day, you don't have much time before the game, so you just have to, in most cases, execute the plan. So the schedule kind of falls into place. And also, I think during the tournament, you're more or less... you're pretty much with chess all the time, pretty much thinking about the tournament and stuff. Yeah, we do take breaks in between where, we just have conversations and we go for a walk or, just stay away. But aside from that, it's always running in your mind, I think, at some level. So the schedule kind of falls into place, and I don't think you have to try too hard to be disciplined during tournaments when you're motivated as a player.
Yeah, and Srinath, we were closely following your Instagram stories and quite a few off the board storms as well. Arjun was putting the storm on the board. But yeah, like it is difficult then, like if you have a walk planned or even going to the tournament hall was a little problematic, right?
No, actually, it was quite friendly and calm, the climate almost throughout the tournament. I was there in 2020 as well with Nihal, and I remember it was slightly windier and colder, and we were making all these jokes about how Nihal doesn't need to have a return ticket. He just has to stand where the wind's direction is, and he gets carried to India. Uh, but I think 2022, it was pretty calm. There was not much wind. The temperature stayed between 5 to 10 degrees for the most part. It rarely got to zero. And only on the last day after the tournament was over, only on the last day, the storm carry started. And by that time, our tournament was over. But if the tournament was on at that time, it would have we would have probably needed to run to the tournament hall because it was the winds were so strong, like about 100 to 120 kilometers an hour, that even to stand outside, it was pushing us. And you couldn't quite stand outside. You couldn't, take your phone and try to shoot vlogs or something. All the basic activities were brought to a standstill. The necessary survival functions, and for some people out there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And regarding Arjun, you see that Arjun is also training under WACI Academy, Anand's academy. Plus, he's getting
Right.
inputs from Rustam Kasimzadov. Plus, you are there. So, how are you able to put all this together and process it to Arjun? Like, do you have a mode or framework in place?
I think we all kind of do different functions. We have a clear division of labor. Now, if that was not there, then there might be some room for confusion. But when we have a clear framework, this person does this person does this, they are responsible for this. I think it's pretty easy to coordinate and function. And I think in this sense, we have all these things in place. So it only complements. The more inputs we have, the more contributions. It only contributes and helps. And I think it has been a fantastic. It has been a fantastic exposure for all the juniors to be under one roof and work under Waka, or having access to world-class trainers like Rustam, who's been working at the top level for close to 15 years now, and someone who commands immense respect within the chess field.
All right. Srinath, what was like one fun thing that you would want to share with the chat, like that was behind the scenes in Vike? Something fun.
Something fun behind the scenes. I didn't come quite prepared for this. There were quite a few. Arjun is already smiling. I'm just curious if he has in mind what I have in mind as well.
I mean, Arjun, of course, even you could go.
I don't think we can say that.
Sorry?
It's the same, I think, but I don't think we can say that on screen.
Yes, I mean, a lot of fun activities happened, but I have this client confidentiality clause in place, which forbids me to
share. All right. Maybe not of that level. Maybe something that is not so confidential.
So one of the fun things that happened was we played board games during the rest days, and we had a lot of fun having these game sessions, the dinner with gangs. And on the last day, there was this one person who came all the way from Amsterdam, traveling 2.5 hours, an alumni of IIT Mumbai called, his name is Abhijit. And we had a lot of fun too, playing board games with him. He's a big board games aficionado. He brought it specifically there, and he had to wait quite a long time to meet us, especially Arjun, who made everyone wait for 7 hours, even after winning the tournament, to score that extra half point. But it was worth it for him, I think, to wait all the way. And there were also some funny stories about. So it was pretty incredible. one thing, to meet people who are in the YouTube chat and the other social media comments in real life, it's a very different experience, because in chat you're just reading the text, and then you have these people, the real life version, and you see them in person. I think that's a wonderful feeling by itself. And also the stories, even now, if you go back to the 2020 online Olympiad, people traveling all the way to, so there's this one person who traveled all the way to, who booked a hotel specifically so that he can watch the online Olympiad uninterrupted throughout the tournament.
Wow. So,
And
and of course, he traveled to meet you guys, but what was the exact situation and the protocol? Because we heard there were a few cases in the tournament. So about that.
Yeah, so the protocol was simply to have no contact during the tournament. And the playing hall was cordoned off. No one was allowed, including the seconds. And only the players were allowed inside the hall. And even within that, the masters and challengers, they were kind of in a separate section. Not exactly separated by a room or something, but the tables were separate. In the opening ceremony, they were made to sit separately. Closing also. So, if there is a transmission, it stays contained. And breakfast, we went out to the buffet. We took food in a tray and we came back. It was also segregated by timing so that not everyone went at the same time. So we had this 10:30 slot in the morning, and we went every day at 10:30. We took our food, we came back, ate it in our rooms. It was room service, but self-service. And dinner was also largely in our rooms throughout the duration of the tournament. And there were people who had pinged wanting to meet during the tournament as well. But when the tournament was ongoing, I didn't really meet anyone, except when you occasionally bump into someone at the hotel lobby or something. And there were a couple of other people that who recognized me. One during the flight and one during the tournament itself. But during the tournament, we didn't meet anyone at all. It was completely contained, except the people within the bubble. Once the tournament was over, once Arjun went to the last round, I kind of relaxed a bit and functioned more like a normal human being.
Yeah, I just sticking to that point. So Arjun, you said that you had dinner with Surya, so you couldn't meet Vidit or Praghu because they were in the master section. Is that?
We did meet Prag. He did come to our hotel on the restless, and he also joined us as well.
Okay. So it wasn't that strict.
Yeah, kind
No,
of.
it wasn't that strict as in you segregated the masters and challenges completely. But for example, when RB Ramesh tested positive, then they asked Prag not to meet anyone else. So for a period of 5 days, he didn't meet anyone else. He wore mask during the game. So, and also we had daily self-tests. So I've become pretty good at inserting the swab inside my nose, and I know how to take a test now, the rapid test.
Yeah.
We practiced it every day.
With the C and the T that comes on that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So also chat is asking, by the way, that Srinath, did you shoot some vlog content in Tata Steel?
I did shoot a lot of vlog content. A lot of clips and videos and stuff. But it might take a bit of time to get the vlog out. So people have to be patient. Not as much time as my rap or my marriage takes, but I think a week or two at least.
Okay, I mean when when I went to a particular event as a coach, I actually recorded all the segments prior to the event, after the event, and I made it into a documentary which is not released yet. Did you have something like that when you were about to go with Arjun, or was it all last minute and you did not think of it?
There were some parts which were not. There were some parts which were not quite documented. there were some moments when it got really tense. So this part is not in the blog. When we departed from Delhi, our flight plan was Delhi, Helsinki, Helsinki to Amsterdam via Finnair. And Arjun has this short stay Schengen visa, which means you cannot spend more than 90 days over a period of 180 days. And this was an issue during the World Rapid and Blitz for both Arjun and Nihal, because they had spent more than 90 days in this 180 days period. But since the tournament was moved to Poland in the very last minute, the Polish authorities promised that they will not, they will give an exemption to all the chess players. And so they managed to play the tournament. And exactly on January 13th, this 180-day period ended. So it started again. It restarted kind of the 90-day period. And therefore, we had to start on January 13th exactly and land at the last moment. But when we were about to check in, and first of all, our flight was at 10:30 in the morning. I had booked it that way, so we get enough sleep on the 12th. But then Arjun was like, do we really need sleep? We are young. Why do we need to sleep? Let's just stay in the airport and stay awake all night. And at that time, I didn't want to admit that I'm not so young anymore. So I was like, okay, you're the player. Let's go ahead with it. So we had stayed up all night, and then the airline didn't allow us to check in.
What?
Yeah, they didn't allow us to check in. They were like, you
didn't
have exceeded 90 days. So you cannot check in. Then I tried to explain that, okay, it's a 90-day period out of 180 days, not 90 days for the whole lifetime. And I tried to explain, Arjun also tried to explain, we showed all these Schengen visa calculators, and they in return, they were calculating with pen and paper, and they were like, no, you cannot check in. And then after some point, they made us stand for like about 2 to 3 hours verifying this. And then finally, when they had checked in everyone else, that's when we could check in. And this whole period was quite tense for both of us, especially to me, because I was, worried that if Arjun didn't manage to check in, then he might have to miss the tournament. There was too little time to get another flight and do this. And if that had happened, the whole history would have to be rewritten, and things would have taken an entirely different turn of events.
Yeah,
But
very close then. So how, like, ultimately they just decided that your calculations were right, or like how?
yeah, ultimately they admitted that they were wrong, and they said sorry, and they let us board and check in. And I was like, yeah, no worries, thank you so much. And Arjun was like, what are you doing? I mean, why are you being so nice? They made us stand for 3 hours. But at that time, my battery was completely down to 0 because I hadn't slept the previous night and I was stressed. And my only thing in my mind was, to just get Arjun to Amsterdam, because I knew that he would take care of the rest. I knew how motivated he was. We had these conversations where, he wanted to score 10.5, and he was so confident, so motivated. And I kind of knew at that time that all I needed was, to just get Arjun safely to this tournament, and he will manage to do the rest. But if there was such an external block, then that would have been so tragic and unfair to Arjun. So it was under these circumstances that we made it to the tournament, and we were the last. The one before us was Jumabai, who also had to get there under difficult circumstances, but due to entirely different reasons.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But yeah, coming back to that point where you shared that you guys had already talked and discussed that 10.5 is the score. So these are like the good type of WhatsApp leaks that Srinath shared on his social media. So can you talk us more about that? Like, when was this? After the Tata Steel success in Kolkata, or like when did all this happen?
So this was after the World Rapid and Blitz. Arjun returned from Poland and he had a few days, and then he was like, now let's talk about classical chess. And at that time, I just had a cursory look at the field, and it was a bit, the rating average was a bit lower than how it was in some of the previous years. And I thought a high score would be required. So I said about 9 to 10 points would be required to fight for the first place. Those were the exact words I used because we are not sure. And then Arjun said he wanted to score 10 and a half, which is amazing. But also at that time, I was a bit skeptic, about the high ambitions, because sometimes when you have a very high goal and things don't fall into place, it can lead to a very early disappointment.
Right.
But I didn't also go too much into it at that point. And also his motivation levels were so high that he was just working on chess, and he was almost texting me every other day saying that he had worked on this, he had worked on that, and I was busy with some other things. So I replied like, at this moment I cannot respond about this, but good to see you working so hard. So I could get those feels, and I could get those vibes. And these days your WhatsApp gets leaked anyway at some point or another, so you might as well do it yourself.
Yeah, Arjun, I think there was maybe just one stressful moment in the entire in the entire event. That nice defensive draw against Zumabayev in the rook end game. So how confident were you of holding that, or what were your thoughts going on during that game?
No, I actually thought it was a fortress and they can do absolutely nothing. And I was pretty confident throughout the game. And even after the game, he mentioned that somewhere he played c5. Instead of that, he was mentioning that king e4 was close to winning. But I was arguing that computer would hold it somehow. And we had a long discussion on this. But in the end, it turned out that it was actually right. He would have been very close to winning.
Yeah, and Srinath, of course, you had the advantage of computers, but how happy or how confident were you when Arjun was closer to the draw?
That game against Srinath, I thought it was lost because it was that kind of position where Arjun was defending for a very long time. But at some point, I could see a clear plan of breakthrough for White, and the only hope I had during that game was that Srinath gets into time trouble. He kind of compulsively gets into time trouble almost every other game. And in this game also, he got into time trouble in the second time control as well as the third time control. But that game was looking very grim. And I think at that point, Arjun was having a 1.5 point lead. So if he had lost against Srinath, then it would become a 0.5 point lead. It's still a pretty nice situation. But the tiebreak was head to head, and I was a bit concerned at that point. I thought he was lost. And also, even after the second rest day, I think he was having a massive lead, about 1.5 points, 7 out of 8. And Jumabayev and Taiwan had 5.5. But I was still a bit careful during those situations not to, become too relaxed or casual. Because two things. One is Arjun had 3 blacks in the last 5 games. He got more whites initially. And he was facing slightly stronger opposition. He had to play 2 2600s, Erwin and Taiwan. And also, they had a slightly weaker opposition towards the end, Srinath and Taiwan. And also, in this Tata Steel challenges, there's a history of some of these young prodigies losing these games towards the end against slightly lower rated opposition. So Anish lost against Anna Muzichuk when he won the Tata Steel challenges. He lost just after the rest day with a 1.5 lead, 1.5 point lead in round 9. And also AD lost against Jordan, and then went on to have this horrendous game against Nino in the 12th round, and kind of made these 3 draws in the end and just managed to win the tournament in similar circumstances. So I just wanted to make sure that Arjun didn't have those stumbles as he went through the finish line. And again, when he was having a worse position against Paulina in the 10th round, again, I was a bit worried. But, when you're performing at a rating of 2900, people just want to draw against you. So Sergey drew against Magnus with white that day, and Paulina just agreed to a draw in a piece of cushion against Arjun on the same day.
Who offered the draw, Arjun, in that?
I offered it.
Oh, wow.
I think it was holdable anyways, but she could press surely.
Yeah, I mean, you would have played on if you were white in that position.
If I were black, yeah.
Yeah. Against anyone in the world, right?
I think so, yeah, because that's a safe position.
Yeah. But on that day, say no to 2900 was like a national hashtag.
Yeah. And one question again from the Twitter: who bullies you more, Srinath or Nihal? This is to Arjun.
This should be to me.
So we'll come to you also, but first let Arjun answer it.
There is only one person who gets bullied no matter what the situation is.
No, Srinath is often nice to me. Nihal bullies.
Okay. All right. Rakesh, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question for Srinath. Like we asked this to Arjun as well earlier. So of course you need to keep all these things in mind as well. That probably chat and even we guys underestimated about the visa thing and so on. But what are your plans for Arjun in the next 1 year? Because again, of course, he'll be playing in the 2023 Masters group at Tata Steel.
I think it depends. There are a few things which is under process right now, and a lot depends on how those things go. For now, I'm mainly helping Arjun during some of his important tournaments, the closed events and things like that. But we don't have any concrete plans chopped out at the moment. I think things will become clearer pretty shortly in the next few weeks or so.
Okay. And any birthday plans that you have? You will be turning in 28 soon.
And that too on Valentine's Day, guys. So Srinath has a fantastic birth date on 14th of Feb. So yes, Srinath, any plans?
Well, I haven't made any plans myself, but I'm guessing some other people might have.
Okay.
Okay.
And by the way, will you guys be seen at Kanpur in about 2 weeks' time? Because finally India is going to have a national championship OTB after like I think about 2 to 3 years now.
No, I'm not.
So no plans from you guys.
Yeah.
But even like considering like the World Cup spot or something. But now I think Arjun will just qualify by rating, I guess.
Yeah, true. And I guess Arjun deserves a break anyway after a grueling month of playing in January.
Yeah. All right. Yes, Arjun and Srinath, it was amazing to know interesting experiences from Tata Steel. And congratulations to you, Srinath, for another successful project. And also to Arjun for getting that big victory. We are very proud and very happy that you got that title. And that also means a ticket to the Masters next year. I'm personally very excited to see you there. Rakesh, final thoughts and then final thoughts from Srinath and Arjun.
Yeah, so once again, congratulations to both of you guys and thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And thank you to the lovely chat that Srinath brought in at the later end with plenty of personal questions and masalas for the vlog. So guys, do subscribe to Srinath's channel to check out the vlog that he'll be posting very soon. And yes, thank you to everyone who joined in. Do like the button, do like the stream if you haven't, and subscribe. And thank you to the mods as well for chipping in today. And yes, thank you everyone.
Yes, Arjun.
Thank you.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. Thanks to everyone for the support. And yeah.
All right. Thank you, Srinath. Any final thoughts from your side?
Thank you, guys. And no final thoughts really. Just like my channel and just subscribe to my channel and follow my social media.
Yes, I've just put the link. Guys, do go to his channel and subscribe. And thank you, Arjun, Rakesh, and Srinath. It was fun doing this. We'll be back with another stream or video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.